powerful and mysterious spiritual symbols ever known. The Merkabah, a name that echoes through ancient texts, sacred teachings, and the whispers of awakened souls across time. If you've ever felt drawn to symbols of higher consciousness or wondered about vehicles of ascension, this is the knowledge you've been waiting for. The Merkabah is not just an abstract idea or a pretty geometric shape. It is a living energy field, a spiritual mechanism that connects the physical body to the divine, guiding us beyond the limitations of our three-dimensional world. It holds the secret to transcending time and space and opens a path towards spiritual enlightenment. In this video, we are going to explore the full story of the Merkabah, its ancient origins, the sacred geometry it embodies, and how it has been used by mystics, prophets, and seekers for centuries to unlock higher realms of consciousness. We'll also dive into practical ways you can activate the Merkabah in your own life, how it can protect you, elevate your vibration, and serve as a light vehicle on your spiritual path. So stay with me until the end, because what you are about to learn could change the way you see yourself, the universe, and your place within it. This is not just knowledge, it is transformation, and every spiritualist needs to know this truth. To truly understand the power of the Merkabah, we must begin at the source, with its name and origin. The word Merkabah is ancient, rich in spiritual significance, and deeply symbolic. It is believed to be derived from three root words found in Egyptian and Hebrew traditions. Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba means body. When combined, Merkabah can be interpreted as the spirit and body surrounded by light, or more profoundly, the light body vehicle used by the soul to travel through dimensions. In ancient Egyptian mysticism, these elements were essential parts of the human being. Ka represented the vital essence or the life force. Ba was the unique personality or the soul's individuality. And Mer, the divine light, served as the force that unified them both. The Egyptians believed that through spiritual mastery and inner balance, the soul could merge these forces and ascend beyond the physical realm. In Hebrew tradition, the word Merkavah means chariot, and it appears in mystical texts such as the Book of Ezekiel, where the prophet describes a divine chariot of fire, wheels within wheels, and beings full of light and energy. This vision has long been interpreted by mystics as a symbolic representation of the divine vehicle of ascension, capable of transporting the soul to higher planes of consciousness. Over time, these ideas merged and evolved into what we now call the Merkabah, a term used in Kabbalistic teachings and esoteric traditions to describe the multidimensional energy field that surrounds every living being. This field is believed to be dormant in most people, yet can be activated through meditation, intention, and spiritual discipline. The Merkabah is not limited to one culture or belief system. Instead, it has appeared in different forms across various ancient civilizations. In Tibetan teachings, similar concepts of the rainbow body speak of an energy transformation that allows the soul to travel beyond physical death. In Vedic texts, the idea of the light body or divine vehicle appears through descriptions of deities who ride celestial chariots between worlds. Through all these traditions, the consistent theme is clear. The Merkabah represents a sacred vehicle of light, a connection between the human and the divine, between the physical world and the realms of spirit. It is a symbol of spiritual awakening, transformation, and divine movement. And understanding its origin helps us reconnect with this ancient wisdom encoded deep within the soul. Now that we've explored the origin of the Merkabah, let's dive into the sacred geometry behind it, because the Merkabah is not only a spiritual symbol, but also a precise geometric form that holds immense energetic power. Its shape consists of two interlocking tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions, forming a three-dimensional Star of David. This structure is known as a star tetrahedron, and it exists as a foundational pattern in sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is the blueprint of creation. It is the language of the universe expressed through mathematical patterns, symmetrical forms, and divine proportion. It governs the way galaxies spiral, the way flowers bloom, the way our own DNA is structured, and within this vast cosmic language, the Merkabah stands out as one of the most powerful and dynamic forms. The upward-pointing tetrahedron represents masculine energy, solar force, the element of fire, and the connection to the heavens. It symbolizes action, structure, and divine intention. The downward-pointing tetrahedron represents feminine energy, lunar force, the element of water, and the connection to the earth. It embodies flow, intuition, and inner wisdom. When these two forms interlock and spin in opposite directions, they create an energy field that is perfectly balanced and harmonized. This spinning field is believed to be the source of the human light body, a toroidal field of energy that surrounds and protects the physical body. When the Merkabah is activated, it allows the being to move freely through different dimensions, tapping into higher frequencies and spiritual wisdom. This is why it is often referred to as a vehicle of ascension. The geometry of the Merkabah is also directly connected to the flower of life, a sacred symbol found in ancient temples, cathedrals, and manuscripts across the world. When you study the flower of life closely, you will see the hidden patterns of the star tetrahedron, Metatron's cube, and many other divine structures. This tells us that the Merkabah is not just a concept, but a core part of the universal design. What makes this geometry so special is not only its symmetry, but its ability to represent balance between opposites, between light and dark, masculine and feminine, movement and stillness. It mirrors the harmony that exists within the cosmos and within ourselves when we are fully aligned. Activating this sacred geometry within us is like tuning a divine instrument. It brings our energy centers into resonance with the cosmic vibration and opens the gateway to higher consciousness. This is why understanding the sacred geometry of the Merkabah is not just intellectual, it is experiential. It invites us to feel, to visualize, and to awaken to the divine architecture of our true nature. The Merkabah is not a new concept born out of modern spirituality. Its presence can be traced back through some of the oldest sacred texts and mystical teachings known to humanity. One of the most well-known references comes from the Hebrew Bible, specifically the Book of Ezekiel, where the prophet describes an intense vision of a heavenly chariot composed of wheels within wheels, radiant beings, and a divine throne carried by living creatures. This chariot is often interpreted by mystics and scholars as a symbolic representation of the Merkabah, a divine vehicle that bridges the realms of man and the divine. In this vision, Ezekiel is lifted up into the heavens, guided by this mysterious vehicle, and exposed to truths beyond the ordinary realm. Jewish mystics later developed these teachings into what is known as the Merkavah tradition, a mystical path focused on meditation, purification, and ascending to the heavenly throne through divine visions. Practitioners would enter deep trance states, guided by specific prayers and intentions, in order to journey through multiple layers of heaven using the Merkabah as their spiritual transport. Outside of the Hebrew tradition, we can find similar ideas echoed in the texts and teachings of other ancient civilizations. In ancient Egyptian spirituality, the concept of the Ka and Ba merging through the Mer or light is deeply aligned with the function of the Merkabah. Pharaohs and high priests were believed to ascend to the stars by activating this divine light vehicle after death, allowing their consciousness to live on in the celestial realms. In early Christian mysticism, the vision of divine chariots and ascension experiences appear in the writings of saints and desert fathers, who described being lifted in spirit to higher dimensions, guided by light and presence, even in the Gnostic texts. There are hints at inner vehicles of light that allow the soul to escape the confines of the material world and return to divine unity. The teachings of Kabbalah also speak of the Merkabah as a structure woven into the tree of life, with divine pathways and sephirot that the soul travels through during ascension, In this framework, the Merkabah is not just a vehicle, but a map of consciousness, guiding the seeker through layers of spiritual reality. These ancient references all point to the same essential truth, that the Merkabah is a sacred tool of transformation, a bridge between the physical and the divine, between the seen and the unseen. It has always been a symbol of access to divine realms, and an invitation for the human soul to remember its origin and purpose. By studying these texts and teachings, we reconnect with the timeless wisdom of our ancestors, and we begin to awaken the memory of the light within us. The Merkabah is more than just a concept from ancient texts or a pattern in sacred geometry. It is a living spiritual vehicle, a dynamic field of light and energy that allows the soul to move beyond the limitations of the physical world. When activated with awareness and intention, the Merkabah becomes a vessel for ascension, transformation, and direct experience of higher realms. In spiritual teachings, this light body is seen as the bridge between the physical self and the higher self. The Merkabah surrounds the body in a rotating field of energy, often visualized as two tetrahedrons spinning in opposite directions. This rotation is not random. It is synchronized with the rhythms of the cosmos and the inner harmony of the soul. When in alignment, the Merkabah becomes a powerful vehicle capable of transporting the consciousness into other dimensions of existence. Mystics and spiritual teachers throughout history have described out-of-body experiences, divine visions, and encounters with celestial beings that occurred through the use of the Merkabah. They speak of traveling through realms of light, receiving downloads of knowledge, and returning with a renewed sense of clarity and purpose. This vehicle allows access to what some call the Akashic Records, the field of infinite memory and wisdom that stores every thought, action, and event across time. The Merkabah also serves as a shield of protection. When fully activated, it creates a toroidal field that not only expands one's energy, but also filters out negative frequencies, psychic attacks, and energetic interference. This field becomes a sanctuary for the soul, keeping it connected to source energy while navigating the challenges of the physical realm. One of the most beautiful aspects of the Merkabah is its ability to unify opposites. It harmonizes the divine masculine and feminine within us. It balances thought and emotion, structure and flow, grounding and ascension. It teaches us that true spiritual movement comes from inner harmony, not from escape, but from integration. Using the Merkabah as a spiritual vehicle is not limited to advanced mystics or monks in seclusion. It is available to anyone who is willing to practice presence, cultivate awareness, and align with divine intention. With meditation, breathwork, and visualization, you can begin to feel this vehicle around you. Sense its movement and allow it to guide you toward spiritual growth. When you step into your Merkabah consciously, you step into your full multidimensional self. You awaken the part of you that remembers what it's like to travel the stars, to communicate with spirit, to know without doubt that you are more than this body, more than this life. The Merkabah reminds you of your true nature and empowers you to live from that truth every single day. Activating the Merkabah is a deeply personal and sacred journey. It is not something that happens overnight, but rather through consistent practice, intention, and inner alignment. The goal is to awaken the light body within you, to set into motion the spinning geometric fields of energy that surround your being, and to begin navigating life from a higher state of consciousness. One of the most widely known methods to activate the Merkabah is through meditation combined with breathwork and visualization. The process often begins by grounding yourself deeply into the earth, allowing your awareness to connect with the core of the planet. This grounding is essential because it anchors your energy and creates a stable base for the Merkabah to activate safely. Next comes the breath. Conscious rhythmic breathing is used to enter a deep meditative state. Many spiritual teachers recommend a specific breathing pattern, often called pranic breathing or 18-breath Merkabah meditation, where each breath corresponds to a point of focus in the body. And each cycle helps to energize and spin the tetrahedrons that form the Merkabah field. Visualization plays a vital role in this process. You may begin to visualize a tetrahedron pointing upward, spinning around your body, representing masculine energy. At the same time, you visualize a second tetrahedron pointing downward, spinning in the opposite direction, representing feminine energy. As you continue the breath and hold this visualization, the two forms begin to merge and spin faster, forming a radiant star of light around you. As the energy builds, it is important to maintain a clear intention from the heart. The heart is the seat of the soul, and your Merkabah responds most powerfully to the vibrations of love, compassion, and gratitude. Some practitioners include affirmations or mantras that resonate with ascension, protection, and divine guidance. Another helpful practice is aligning the chakras. As the Merkabah spins, it naturally aligns with your energy centers. But you can support this by visualizing each chakra opening and glowing with vibrant light, starting from the root and moving up to the crown. This allows the energy to flow freely and strengthens the activation process. Some traditions include movement or sound as part of their Merkabah activation rituals. For example, sacred tones, binaural beats, or solfeggio frequencies can help stimulate the pineal gland and bring the brain into a meditative frequency. Certain body postures or mudras may also help focus energy in specific ways. The most important part of this practice is consistency. Activating the Merkabah is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice of remembering. Each time you connect with it, you strengthen your light body and deepen your connection to the higher self and the divine universe. Over time, you may begin to feel subtle shifts, sensations of spinning or tingling, inner visions, a greater sense of peace, clarity, and expanded awareness. These are signs that your Merkabah is becoming more active, and as it does, it will support you in navigating life with greater wisdom, power, and purpose. The Merkabah becomes not just a vehicle of ascension, but a way of living in harmony with your truest self. When the Merkabah becomes active in your life, everything begins to change from the inside out. You start to see the world not just through your eyes, but through the lens of expanded awareness and higher consciousness. This shift allows you to respond to challenges with calm, to move through emotional storms with grace, and to connect with others from a place of truth and compassion. The Merkabah transforms your inner world first. It clears away stagnant energy and old patterns that no longer serve you. As your energy body becomes more refined, you begin to feel lighter, more balanced, and more alive. Your thoughts become clearer, your heart opens wider, and your sense of purpose deepens. One of the most powerful transformations is the way you begin to access guidance. The Merkabah connects you to your higher self and to the divine intelligence of the universe. This connection can bring insights during meditation, synchronicities in daily life, and a quiet but powerful sense of knowing what steps to take next. You also become more magnetic when your energy field is activated and spinning harmoniously. You naturally attract experiences and people that resonate with your frequency. This means more aligned relationships, more meaningful opportunities, and a greater flow of abundance in all forms. The Merkabah also gives you strength during hard times. It becomes your inner sanctuary, a space where you can return to stillness and recharge. Instead of feeling lost or overwhelmed, you begin to trust the process of life, knowing that everything is unfolding in divine timing. It is not about escaping the world, but about showing up fully in it, grounded in spirit and guided by your inner light. The Merkabah teaches you how to live as a soul having a human experience, and that truth alone can completely transform the way you live, the way you love, and the way you lead yourself through this journey called life. The Merkabah is not just a symbol or a mystical idea from ancient teachings. It is a living field of energy and light within you, waiting to be awakened. It holds the potential to elevate your consciousness, to heal your inner world, and to reconnect you with your true divine nature. When you understand the meaning behind the Merkabah, when you begin to feel its presence in your meditation, in your breath, and in your daily life, you realize that you are so much more than just a body and a mind. You are a multidimensional being, here for a purpose, guided by something greater. And the Merkabah is one of the sacred tools to help you remember that truth. It teaches you how to move beyond fear, beyond limitation, and into a space of pure awareness and unconditional love. It invites you to live in alignment with your soul and to walk this life as the powerful light being that you are. So take this message with you and begin the practice. Start small if you must. Just a few minutes of focused breathing, a few moments of visualization, and an open heart. Allow the energy of the Merkabah to grow with you, and trust that every step you take toward your spiritual awakening is supported by the universe.
In ancient texts and mystic traditions, quietly waiting for the moment when humanity would be ready to remember its true power. This symbol is not just an abstract design or a piece of spiritual art. It is known as the Merkabah, a word that vibrates with mystery, with motion, with meaning, as old as the stars themselves. The Merkabah is often drawn as a star, tetrahedron, two interlocking pyramids spinning in opposite directions. But to those who have studied its deeper significance, the Merkabah is far more than geometry. It is said to be a divine light vehicle, a spiritual technology that connects the body, the spirit, and the soul to higher dimensions. Today, in the midst of rapid change, inner searching, and energetic awakening, more and more people are being drawn to this ancient concept. People from different paths and beliefs are remembering something deep, something powerful. They are sensing that the Merkabah holds a kind of key, not just to understanding the cosmos, but to remembering who we truly are beyond our stories, beyond our names, and beyond the illusion of separation. The Merkabah continues to appear in meditations, in dreams, in spontaneous visions, and even in ancient architecture, as if it has always been guiding us like a silent guardian, whispering through the veil. You might ask why. Now, why is the Merkabah resurfacing in conversations across the spiritual world? And why does it feel so relevant to those who are on a path of inner awakening? The answer is simple, yet profound. Because humanity is at the threshold of a great remembering. We are being called to awaken the light body to activate the energy fields that surround and protect us, and to move beyond linear thinking into multidimensional awareness. The Merkabah is not just a tool or a concept. It is a map. It is a bridge. It is a reminder that we were never just flesh and bone. We were always beings of light, traveling in sacred vessels of energy, encoded with ancient wisdom. So if you have felt drawn to this symbol, if you have seen it in visions, or found yourself curious about its meaning, know this: it is not a coincidence. It is a calling. The Merkabah still matters today because it carries within it the codes for transformation, protection, and ascension. It is a gift from the ancients, and it is ready to be remembered by you now. To understand the power of the Merkabah, we must begin with its name, a name that carries within it layers of meaning, reaching back to some of the oldest mystical traditions on Earth. The word Merkabah comes from ancient languages, but most commonly it is interpreted through a Hebrew lens, where it is broken into three distinct syllables: Merkah and Bah. Each of these parts holds its own vibration and significance, and when brought together, they describe a profound spiritual concept that has echoed through time. Mir is often translated as light, not the ordinary light we see with our eyes, but divine light radiant and living a higher frequency that transcends form. It is the light that is said to exist in the higher realms, a light that heals, that guides, and that knows. Ka is the spirit, the essence of individuality, the part of the soul that carries memory, identity, and energetic imprint. It is the unique spark that moves through lifetimes, holding your experiences, your gifts, and your lessons. Ba is the body, not just the physical shell, but the embodiment, the vessel through which spirit expresses itself in the material world. It is your sacred form, the living temple that allows the dance of light and spirit to take place in time and space. So when you say Merkabah, you are not merely speaking a word. You are calling forth the unity of light, spirit, and body, the alignment of the divine self in motion across dimensions. Merkabah is not just a passive concept. It implies movement, travel, and transformation in ancient mysticism. It is understood as a chariot of light, a vehicle that allows the soul to journey between realms of existence. This idea of the divine chariot appears prominently in Jewish mystical texts, especially in the visions of the prophet Ezekiel. In the Hebrew Bible, Ezekiel describes a powerful encounter with beings of light wheels within wheels and a radiant throne carried by 4 living creatures. This vision became the foundation of what is known as Merkavah mysticism, a school of thought in early Jewish esotericism that focused on ascending through heavenly realms through meditation, purity, and deep contemplation. The goal was not to escape the world, but to return to the divine throne, to remember the source, and to carry that light back into embodied life. But the Merkabah is not exclusive to Hebrew tradition. It also finds resonance in ancient Egyptian spirituality, where the Ka and Ba were seen as 2 essential parts of the soul, flying freely across dimensions. Together, Ka and Ba needed to reunite in the afterlife for the soul to reach its full potential and freedom when joined with divine light or myrrh. The result is strikingly similar to the concept of a light body capable of ascension. The symbol of the Merkabah also exists in sacred geometry, especially in the form of the star tetrahedron, 2 pyramids interlocked and spinning in opposite directions. This form represents balance, harmony, and multidimensional movement. It is found carved into the temples of ancient civilizations, etched in forgotten stone, and embedded in the flower of life pattern. A sacred geometric code that contains the blueprint of all creation. So when we ask, what does Merkabah mean? We are asking more than just the definition of a word. We are touching a thread that runs through multiple civilizations, through the mystical veins of humanity itself. The Merkabah is a name given to the process of remembering who we are as beings of light, the path of the spirit reuniting with the body through conscious awakening. It is a map left by the ancients, a whisper from beyond the veil, a reminder that the journey home is not one of distance, but of remembrance. The Merkabah is not out there somewhere. It is within you, encoded in your energy field, waiting to be reactivated and rediscovered. Whether you trace its origins to the Hebrew prophets, the Egyptian soul teachings, or the star patterns of sacred geometry, the Merkabah speaks the same language across time. The language of light, the language of the soul, the language of divine motion. And when you understand this, when you feel its meaning in your bones and in your breath, you begin to see that the Merkabah is not something you need to find. It is something you are, something you have always been. To truly grasp the essence of the Merkabah, we must step beyond words and into form, into structure, into the timeless language of sacred geometry. Geometry is not just a mathematical tool. It is the divine blueprint that underlies all creation. It is the code through which the universe speaks and organizes itself. And at the heart of this code stands a shape both simple and infinitely profound. The star tetrahedron, the sacred structure that gives the Merkabah its form and its power. The Merkabah is composed of two interlocking tetrahedrons, or four-sided pyramids, one pointing upward toward the heavens, the other pointing downward toward the earth. They are not just stacked together, they are merged, interwoven, creating a three-dimensional star that holds perfect balance between polarities. The upward tetrahedron represents masculine energy, the element of fire, the force of expansion. It reaches toward the divine, the celestial, the cosmic. It seeks knowledge, action, and transcendence. The downward tetrahedron holds feminine energy, the element of water, the power of grounding. It connects to the earth, to intuition, to receptivity and inner wisdom. When these two forces rotate in harmony, something extraordinary happens. They form a dynamic field, a spinning vehicle of energy that surrounds the human body and connects it to multiple planes of existence. This is not just a metaphor. Many energy healers, clairvoyants, and mystics report seeing these rotating fields around awakened individuals. They describe them as spinning in opposite directions. The top, rotating clockwise. The bottom, counterclockwise. When activated through meditation and breath, the Merkabah begins to spin faster, forming a field of light around the body that expands in all directions. This field is often described as being about 55 feet in diameter, when fully activated, forming a sphere of sacred geometry that can protect, elevate, and transport the soul. But the power of the Merkabah goes beyond individual transformation. It reflects a deeper truth about the universe itself. The star tetrahedron is found in the structure of molecules, in the formation of galaxies, in the architecture of ancient temples, and in the crystalline patterns of nature. It is encoded in the flower of life, a sacred geometric pattern found across continents, etched into stone by civilizations that never met and yet carried the same cosmic memory. The flower of life contains within it all 5 platonic solids, and the star tetrahedron is one of its most essential keys. The ancients knew that geometry was not invented, it was discovered. Geometry is the divine script that life itself follows. The Merkabah, as a geometric form, is also a map of energetic balance. It teaches us how to, but in union, to bring together the active and the receptive, the logical and the intuitive, the seen and the unseen. It invites us to become fully human and fully divine at once, to walk through life not split between extremes, but as a unified presence, aware of both matter and spirit. The geometry of the Merkabah becomes a mirror in which we see ourselves whole and complete. When you meditate upon this shape, when you visualize the spinning fields of light, when you align your breath with its rhythm, you are not just imagining something, you are activating a universal pattern that already exists within your energy body. The human light field, often called the aura or the torus, is intimately connected to this geometry. The Merkabah enhances and stabilizes that field, creating coherence and amplifying intention. It becomes a vehicle not only for ascension, but for living in harmony with universal laws. Some traditions say that in ancient times, before the fall of consciousness, the Merkabah was naturally active in every human being. It allowed people to communicate telepathically, to travel between dimensions, and to live in balance with the earth and the stars over time. As fear and separation grew, this light vehicle began to slow down and eventually became dormant, but the memory remained. And today, as more people awaken to their multidimensional nature, the Merkabah is stirring once more, ready to be reawakened through practice, awareness, and alignment with sacred geometry. So when you look at the Merkabah, do not see it as just a symbol or a design. See it as a living structure, a spinning field, a cosmic engine that lies within you, ready to be activated, ready to carry you into greater awareness, deeper presence, and higher purpose. It is not a fantasy. It is a technology of the soul born from the intelligence of the universe and encoded in every cell of your being. The sacred geometry of the Merkabah is not just about ascension. It is about embodiment, about living your light fully here and now. The Merkabah is not just a beautiful symbol or a mystical concept. It is a living energetic field. And more importantly, it is something you can awaken within yourself. It is not reserved for saints or sages. It is a divine gift woven into the human energy system, waiting quietly for the moment when your soul says yes, when your heart is ready to remember, and when your consciousness begins to expand beyond the limitations of ordinary awareness. This process is called Merkabah activation, and it is one of the most sacred and powerful tools of ascension and protection available to us today. Activating the Merkabah is not about forcing or chasing a result. It is about entering into a relationship with the deeper aspects of your being. It begins with stillness, with intention, with breath. You are not just activating geometry. You are aligning with universal flow. You are harmonizing the spinning fields of your inner light body to mirror the balance of the cosmos. The process usually begins with meditation, often guided and supported by sacred geometry, visualizations, breath control, and heart coherence techniques. Many teachers recommend using a specific 18-breath sequence, first introduced by Drunvalo Melchizedek as part of the ancient Merkabah teachings. This breathwork is more than relaxation. It is a coded rhythm designed to awaken the spinning fields of light that surround the body and reconnect them to source energy. As you breathe with awareness, as you visualize the upward and downward tetrahedrons spinning around your body, your consciousness begins to shift. You may feel pressure around your forehead or a tingling sensation through your spine. Some describe a lightness or a subtle pulsing around the heart center. Others feel surrounded by a magnetic bubble, a gentle force field that seems to pulse with intelligence. This is your Merkabah coming online. Not through imagination, but through resonance. You are tuning yourself like an instrument to the frequencies of light and love and divine memory. With consistent practice, the Merkabah becomes more than a meditation. It becomes a part of your energetic anatomy. It surrounds you as a living light field, and it can protect you on multiple levels: spiritually, emotionally, mentally, even physically. Many people report feeling less drained around toxic environments, less influenced by chaotic energies, and more deeply centered in their own power. When their Merkabah is active, it serves as a shield, a filter, and a connector all at once, protecting you from what no longer serves you, while simultaneously opening you to higher realms of consciousness. But beyond protection, the Merkabah is a tool for ascension, not just in the mystical sense of leaving the body or floating into some ethereal realm, but in the deeper truth of ascending into who you really are. The Merkabah helps you bridge the gap between the lower and higher self. It creates a stable field in which transformation can occur safely and consciously. It allows you to access expanded states of awareness without becoming ungrounded or overwhelmed, and it helps integrate those experiences into daily life so that your growth becomes embodied and lasting. Some mystics describe using the Merkabah for conscious travel to other realms, for communication with higher beings, or for exploring the Akashic records. These are not fantasies for those who have cultivated this light body. These experiences become natural extensions of an expanded reality, where the soul is no longer limited by time or space, but free to explore, learn, and serve from a place of higher alignment. When your Merkabah is fully active, it becomes a vehicle for inner and outer journeys, a chariot of light that carries you through the dimensions while keeping you rooted in the truth of who you are. The activation of the Merkabah is also deeply linked to the heart. The spinning fields are stabilized not just through technique, but through love. Unconditional love is the fuel that powers the Merkabah. Without it, the light vehicle remains from your heart, the more coherent and powerful your Merkabah becomes. This is why the true activation is not only about geometry or breath, but about choosing love, choosing forgiveness, choosing truth, choosing unity again and again, until your field sings in resonance with the divine. So if you are called to activate your Merkabah, do so with reverence and care. Listen to your intuition. Follow the path that feels alive to your soul. Trust that the energy is intelligent, that it knows exactly how to awaken within you when you are ready. And always remember, this is not about escaping life. It is about living life more fully, more clearly, more consciously, with your light body awake and your spirit grounded in purpose. When the Merkabah is active, you become a bridge between worlds, a vessel of light, walking on earth with the wisdom of the stars flowing through every breath. As humanity steps further into the age of consciousness, the boundaries between science and spirituality begin to blur. What was once dismissed as myth or metaphysics is now being reconsidered through the lens of quantum physics, energy medicine, and human biofield science. The Merkabah, long regarded as a spiritual symbol or mystical concept, is now gaining attention not just in meditation halls, but also in laboratories, in quantum discussions, and in the study of vibrational energy fields that surround and permeate the human body. At the heart of the scientific interpretation is the idea that we are more than physical beings. We are energetic structures vibrating in space-time and constantly interacting with the invisible fabric of the universe. Physicists speak of fields of potential quantum coherence, non-locality, and geometric harmony. And although they use different language, the essence mirrors what mystics have always known. The human body emits measurable electromagnetic fields generated by the brain and the heart. The HeartMath Institute has shown that the heart produces a field that can be detected several feet away, and that this field changes based on emotional states, intention, and consciousness. Now imagine that your body is not only emitting a field, but surrounded by nested layers of geometric patterns. These patterns are not random, they are structured and intelligent, forming a toroidal field or donut-shaped flow that matches ancient depictions of the Merkabah. The two interlocked tetrahedrons, when spinning, create a three-dimensional field that resonates with this torus shape. And some researchers suggest that this is not a coincidence, but a natural design encoded into the structure of life itself. In fact, when observing how energy flows through nature, we find repeating patterns, spirals, fractals, golden ratios, and interlocking geometries, all pointing to a hidden order beneath the surface of reality. This leads to the concept of sacred geometry as a language of energy. The Merkabah is not just a spiritual idea, it is a model of energetic dynamics, a representation of how light energy and consciousness can interact within the human biofield. When the tetrahedrons spin, they generate a coherent energy field, similar to how gyroscopes create stability, or how rotating magnets generate electromagnetic currents. And when this field reaches coherence, it becomes more than protective. It becomes a bridge, a resonant field, capable of interacting with other layers of reality, possibly even allowing access to higher dimensions or states of awareness. In the realm of quantum physics, we know that particles are not truly solid. They are probability fields, clouds of energy that collapse into form based on observation and intention. Similarly, the activated Merkabah can be seen as an energy field shaped by consciousness, powered by intention, and stabilized by coherence. In other words, the more aligned your thoughts, your emotions, and your breath are, the stronger and more stable your Merkabah becomes. This coherence is not just spiritual, it is measurable, and it mirrors the way lasers work. Focused light becomes exponentially more powerful, and coherent fields in the human energy system function the same way. There are even parallels in the study of torsion fields and scalar waves. Some fringe physicists suggest that spin-on geometries in space can generate torsion fields that move faster than light and carry information across vast distances without losing coherence. While still speculative, this model resonates deeply with ancient stories of star-travel chariots of light and instantaneous transmission of thought or presence. Some believe that the Merkabah operates in similar ways, allowing the human soul to remain in one dimension while accessing information or even presence in another. Beyond the quantum theories, there are also practical energetic interpretations that come from disciplines like Reiki, acupuncture, and vibrational healing. In these practices, the body is understood as a network of meridians, chakras, and subtle fields. When the Merkabah is activated, it is said to harmonize these systems, to balance polarities, and to increase the flow of prana chi, or life force, through the body. Many healers report that their work becomes more effective when their Merkabah is consciously activated, that their clients experience deeper shifts, and that the space around them feels protected and elevated during sessions. The Merkabah can also be seen as an energetic compass, pointing toward your highest self. When you align your geometry, your breath, and your intention, you become a tuning fork for universal energy. Your body becomes a vessel of resonance, and your awareness expands beyond linear thinking into multidimensional perception. You begin to sense synchronicities as part of a larger pattern. You feel guided not by logic alone, but by an inner intelligence that speaks through frequency, feeling, and flow. So while modern science may not yet fully endorse the concept of the Merkabah, what it offers is an evolving framework. One that begins to validate the ancient knowing that we are beings of light structure and vibration, that geometry is not only sacred, but functional, and that within us lies the architecture of stars. The Merkabah is not just mystical. It is mechanical, emotional, and vibrational. It is a doorway into the greater field that surrounds all things. A doorway that science is just beginning to knock on as ancient wisdom waits with open arms. Now that you have traveled through the meanings, the origins, the structure, and the energy of the Merkabah, it is time to return to the most important place of all, the place within yourself. Because no matter how much knowledge you gather, no matter how many symbols you study, or how many truths you hear, the real power of the Merkabah begins when you choose to awaken it from within. It is not something outside of you. It is you. It is the blueprint of your higher self, the geometry